With regard to proceeding to an adjudication, our office is subpoenaing the records that we believe we need to prosecute our case. So
but you don't know if you've completed the disclosure. In other words, I'm struggling with that because the department is the one who, the two lines. The department sometimes makes people self-refer and go to their own provider. And for a service, the department is required to provide.
yes.
And the department sometimes has the person provide it. It seems to me under either of those scenarios, those are the department's records to disclose, not use at trial. So what
Yes.
I'm hearing is the department isn't making sure it has disclosed those, it's just making sure that it's got the records it wants to use.
The department should be disclosing all of those documents, but with regard to subpoenas only. So when you were asking about
Right.
subpoenas, we will only subpoena what the AG's office will only subpoena what the AG's office believes we need to use at trial. So there might be documents out there the department has disclosed. It could be, let's say father has gone to a parenting class or has done other community-based services all on his own. If the department's received those records, then the department will have disclosed those. But we don't necessarily need to subpoena those records to proceed on our case, right? We wouldn't necessarily need those records from our point of view.
But the father might want them to defend against that, and it's the department's disclosure duty for the services the department has either provided or required the parent to do.
Absolutely.
So how do you get around that subpoena obligation to meet your disclosure obligations?
Because as the department receives them through the portal, they should be disclosed.
And if the department hasn't received them? Does the department subpoena the records when it hasn't received them?
I think that would be a case-by-case basis, depending upon, I think most of the time we would subpoena them.
The department either decides it's going to issue subpoenas for those records or it's not.
Correct. I believe if we had not received I think it would be on a case-by-case basis as to whether or not the Attorney General's office would subpoena records. I think we'd have to know what the records were. If they don't have the records, I would certainly hope that the case manager will be reaching out and saying, hey, we don't have the last 2 months worth of records, we're going to trial, we need those. Communicate with the Assistant Attorney General and say, hey, they're ignoring me, we need to proceed and have a subpoena issued. That communication piece should be occurring.
And that's on all documents?
Yes.
Because from my perspective, just because it's the AG who wants them, that doesn't mean the AG doesn't have that disclosure obligation.
No, I agree with that. But when you said if the documents haven't been received by the department, there should be a communication between the case manager and the Assistant Attorney General for us to know that the department hasn't.
To make sure that happens?
There is not a protocol, but it is a practice, so we can put a protocol in place.
I'm not trying to tell you. I'm just
Absolutely.
wondering how it happens if it's not, and you're talking about culture. Mm-hmm. And practice usually comes off of culture, not protocol.